My dear daughter, well, it's been a while. Um, but then today I went and it's now, the 22nd of February. It's 6:15 in the morning and I haven't once again slept. And so I thought I'd go and get a coffee and a paper. And after reading just the front page, I almost knew that I would have to make this particular broadcast. What caught my eye was it's the FT. It's the FT. And there's a little briefing here. The price for allowances traded in the blocks emissions trading system has climbed above €100 a tonne, a milestone for a main EU climate tool. Not really sure how a climate tool, not even a climate change tool, a tool to profit out of climate. Not really sure that was the aim of the game, eh? But then as I was turning the pages, and I very rarely these days actually look at the news or anything, Constance, because it's an absolute nightmare. I did have a run across another interesting article, if I can find it. Where was it? Ah, yes. Defence contracts. EU weighs using budget to speed up arms supplies for ally. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm sure my video will get blocked for whatever. By Henry Foy. Brussels is drawing up a proposal to use the EU budget to pre-finance purchases of weapons and ammunition in what would be an unprecedented foray into the defence industry designed to speed up arms supplies to Ukraine. Right. I mean, just that one paragraph should be enough to tell you all you need to know about what was going on in the EU and our glorious leaders. It's advanced Ursula von der Leyen. You should definitely look her up and see her history. Commission President said last weekend that advanced purchase agreements would give the defence industry the possibility to invest in production lines now to be faster and to increase the amount they can deliver. It's amazing, isn't it, how we can find billions, it seems, to fund the machinery of war and death, but not for anything else. At the beginning of last year, there were anguished cries across Europe as, no social programs, no STEM education, no SEN education needs, people can be helped. We haven't got enough, but lo and behold, apparently we've got billions to just throw against the wall in the war machine. It's incredibly interesting to see. The reason I read DFT is it's no better than any of the other rags, to be fair, in that it's wholly biased and propaganda. But because it's money, it's actually quite hard to lie with money. Lots of people try to lie by using money to make other people lie, but it's hard to lie with money. That's the great thing about numbers, is if you know how to read them, you can very quickly tell you when you're being lied to, and being managed, as it were. In one sentence we have, Russia is firing, and it may well be, I don't know, I don't keep track of these things. It's not something that really is on my radar. 200,000 shells, 20,000 artillery shells in Ukraine. It's interesting that we seem to be moving towards World War I warfare, the warfare of attrition, of let's see how much more lead, how much more metal we can throw at the other side. I'm not really sure they understand exactly how wars are won. They certainly know how to profit from it. And on the next page is the Russian war machine is bogged down 1 year after Putin expected victory. Interesting. Maybe one day I'll do a bigger video on, recapping everything that both sides have said, because it's just getting ridiculous now. What else is on here? Now, I was going to go to page 13 for this great, where is this great thing about 1213, EU carbon prices. The EU's carbon prices has climbed for one of the bloc's key tools to fight. Very weird. Allowances traded under the EU's flagship emissions trading system rose 2%. This isn't the way to fight. Well, first of all, it's a stupid thing to try and fight climate change. Climate change, just some cursory, geography. No, that's not the right historical investigation, and certainly actually some geography, some understanding of ancient weather patterns and the cycles of things. Yes, weather patterns change. Weather patterns are changing, and yes, we are making an impact on the planet. But unless everyone wants to run around naked, live up trees, and eat their meat raw, nope, not really. Not a lot going on here. It's really interesting that there's another thing here about billions pouring into bond ETFs. Bright spot for BlackRock. BlackRock, you should work out what BlackRock offered to do for Ukraine as well. That should once again tell you all you need to know about that nonsense. The FT is always really interesting because it's and if it's still around when you're older, you should definitely have a look at it. It's I'm rather jaded after 40 odd years. And I still can't understand why in near real time trading information the FT prints pages of market data, as if this bears any relevance anymore. Considering I can go into Bloomberg or whatever and get real time feeds for almost next to nothing, or any other free sources of data. But the FT is an interesting paper to read because it's very easy to tell, as I said again, when you're being lied to and when someone's trying to manage you. It's really interesting. For instance, so back to this carbon price, a glass maker paying 50 megawatt per hour for natural gas, plus another £20 per megawatt hours equivalent in CO2 permits, may be willing to buy biomethane, which can cost as little as 65 megawatt per hour, capturing CO2 from industrial sites. And it's the way to affect change really in a global. If you really want to do something good as you grow up, stay away from money. Stay away from using money as a tool for that. Use money as a tool to enjoy your life, to go see the world, to go meet new people, to experience new ideas, new cultures, to travel. But don't chase after it as if it was some great thing. It isn't. It's a horrible thing. It's a very divisive, dreadful thing. It is truly the root of all evils on this planet. For over 20, maybe even 40 years, this planet, the species on this planet has been able to feed, house, clothe, educate, medicate, and entertain every single human being. And we don't do it because we lack the resources or the food or the medicine. Just the amount of waste will tell you that. We do it because the spreadsheet Excel file somewhere, a little cell goes red. And so people are like, oh, can't do that. Computer says no. And that's why I say, money is truly the root of all evil, right? People die every day, not for want of food, but of want of money to pay someone to bring the food that they're going to throw away into the bin or landfill to the place where actually it could be given to the people who actually need to eat because they haven't eaten for a while, or clean water provided for people who haven't had clean water provided. And don't even get me started on my near lifetime experience of being asked to supply money to drill wells in Africa, which at this point I'm starting to wonder how Africa isn't just underwater and just flooded with wells and frogs. But alas, it isn't apparently, because money never really gets the people who need it, just the people who want it. So this has been a rather jaded 10 minutes, hasn't it? Constance, it's really interesting. On the front page of the FT today is the Vladimir Putin versus versus what's his name, Biden. That's it. Which, to be fair, is just two sides of the same coin. Um, Russia is now suspending its nuclear weapons treaty. Um, Not surprising, is it? And Biden was off in wherever he was in Poland or wherever. It's not like in the US, the country he's the president of. There's some serious stuff going on in Ohio with journalists being arrested. I hear journalists being arrested for trying to report on what is in effect a massive toxic burn, which was caused intentionally. FEMA getting involved, always good when FEMA getting involved. There's no other organization in the US that can suspend the US Constitution. That should tell you all you need to know about that. And of course, a war so dangerous that about every single major politician has now taken a trip. Pretty great, pretty great. And in other news, the Mormon Church has been fined by the SEC for its part in $100 billion worth of investments. All right, whatever. It happens all the time. Once again, money. And interestingly, also, in what I can only say to you is that it's just a statement of just the sheer. I don't even know the word to describe it. It's Forum Auctions. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, I think the camera's going to do something funny. There you go. It's got only Banksy. Only Banksy artwork. I'm not really sure. I don't understand the appeal of it. It's graffiti. Graffiti is an art form. I've seen lots of really good graffiti. I don't really understand why this. It's a lot of good marketing, I guess. And also, apparently, China is having problems with AI because they haven't got enough chips. And the fact that without going into too much detail, I'm sure you'd have learned it by now when you see this. Large language models, they rely on large amounts of text. And of course, there isn't a lot of Chinese text on the internet. So it's very hard to train a large language model on Chinese text. So that is that could be interesting. And obviously there's all sorts of things going on between China and US at the moment about chips and South China Seas and Taiwan and all that kind of thing. So, and it is slightly interesting as well. There's this very weird